Welcome guys, this is Automotive Anonymous, and that's my 2022 Subaru Outback Wilderness. It's my own personal Outback Wilderness, and I haven't given you an update video in about 7 months since February on it, so for that I apologize. We have a lot to cover today. But back in February, it had about 25,000 miles. Now, 7 months later in September, I've owned it for 2 years, or more specifically, 721 days, and it has a jaw-dropping 28,000 miles. That's because I bought my Mazda Miata back in March. I've put over 10,000 miles on it. It's honestly too fun to not drive any chance I get. So now the Outback Wilderness mostly sits in the driveway and mostly only gets about one out-of-town road trip a month. But there's a lot that's changed. There's a lot that you might want to know if you're a buyer, a potential buyer, or someone owning one who might just be wondering what to look forward to over your ownership experience. So let's dive right in. I think the first thing we should mention is the cost of ownership. When I bought this, and I'll overlay the sticker just in case I'm wrong, but I believe it was $41,600 MSRP. I was able to get a couple hundred off from the Twin Falls Subaru dealership at the time, and then an additional $500 off from having a Subaru of America coupon for being a returning customer because I had a Subaru Crosstrek before this. So I traded that in, paid the 18 grand difference or so, and came out with the Outback Wilderness 2 years ago. Since then, it's really not been very expensive. I do my own oil changes. I have a video on how to do that. So that's maybe 30 bucks a pop a couple times a year. And then insurance on this, which it's gonna be different for everyone, but mine is only about $60 a year for full coverage, which I'm very grateful for. For having full coverage on a $40,000 vehicle, I feel like that's not too bad. A lot of people also wonder about miles per gallon. When this came out, it was rated at 22 city, 26 highway. I do want to say driving around town, I get anywhere from 20 to 22, usually going through normal traffic, as you can see here. But on the highway, going 60 to maybe 70 miles an hour, I get anywhere from 26 miles per gallon up to 34. And no, that's not just on a short jaunt. That's over a couple hundred miles over a legit full tank of gas. But to do that, you have to have a very controlled set of dynamics. Have the engine warm, don't overfill the gas tank and mess with the charcoal canister emission sensors. You basically just need to keep your foot out of it, granny drive it, and stay out of boost. Keep the RPMs low. But yeah, I've gone 34 in a tank before. But when I'm going interstate speed, which the interstate around here is 80 miles an hour, I might only get about 24 to 27 if I'm lucky. I have yet to nick a rim, which I don't anticipate I'll ever do under normal circumstances, and the Geolandar all-terrain tires that are Snowflake Peak mountain rated, they've done exceptionally well in the winter for me. At 28,000 miles, you can see I still have about 8/32 or a quarter inch of tread, so I don't think they'll have to be replaced this year with how much I'm driving it. But they've done really well, and they can last for quite a while. I do rotate my tires about every 6,000 or 7,000 miles, but I've never included the spare tire, which is a full size if you're new to the Wilderness platform, because I don't think it's worth having the spare tire be compromised. I'd rather that thing be safe and secure, ready to go if an emergency were to come. As far as issues, there really haven't been many, and I've been very fortunate. Besides having a dusty engine bay, I really can't complain too much. Mine did have the infamous windshield crack that just appears out of nowhere on the bottom right. But a quick call to Subaru of America, and they had the dealership replace that for free. A few months later, I did then get a legit rock chip, but I just fixed that on my own, and it has held up since. Otherwise, the exterior, the paint specifically, has done really well. I've heard that Subaru paint is sometimes kind of thin, people think. But really, for driving 90% on the highway, about 25,000 of my miles, it's held up well. There really aren't many rock chips. And then the interior has also done exceptionally well. The StarTex might get a little bit hot in the summer because it doesn't breathe very well, but it's so easy to clean with hot water and a wet towel. The back seats are solemnly used, and the cargo area is rarely used. It's only been filled to capacity several times. I'm quite fortunate that I haven't had any of the more major issues that some people have had, such as the oil pan gasket leak, CVT transmission failure, or getting hit by other drivers and having yours damaged or totaled. That seems to be a fairly common problem on the forums too. But I'm sure all of these issues that are of real significance probably affects less than 1% of the population that owns these. Please comment below if you have or haven't had issues and what your mileage is. The best moments I've had from owning the Outback Wilderness is really that it just does everything well, especially with a lot of comfort and style. I've driven over 100 new cars on my channel, and this one is very pleasant to drive with a lot more capability and creature comforts than most of those vehicles, while being more off-road capable than most mild off-roaders will ever need to go when they're going camping or just traveling down a gravel trail. Disappointments really haven't been very many, and I kind of knew what I was getting into when I got into this vehicle because I had a Crosstrek before it. I already knew a lot of what people liked and didn't like about the Subarus, but if you really want to see my issues or my 7 gripes with the platform, you can search for that video on my channel, where I go into more detail on it. As far as future plans go, I'm really not sure at this point. I've never actually kept a vehicle longer than 2.5 years, but I currently don't have any plans to change this one out. At least not until the warranty runs out, and I see how other CVTs have continued to hold up and just how I feel about mine in general. But I do have a level 2 EV charger in the garage now, and I am excited to see how the refreshed Tesla Model Y performance that's expected to come maybe at the end of next year, to see how well that does. Also, if my wife decides to pick up a Subaru SUV soon, I'll not have as much of a reason to keep this one as long as we have another Subaru SUV in the family. With my Miata as the fun daily car that really gets all of my miles whenever it can, the secondary car that I have will remain something practical and enthusiast focused, but you could probably count on seeing this one for a while. I just don't know how long that's going to be. With that said, if you have any thoughts or questions, please comment them below so that myself and other Outback Wilderness owners can respond to you. And owners, leave your experiences. Also, I want to know, if you had to have a different vehicle, what would you pick if it could not be a Subaru or it could not be an Outback Wilderness specifically? Lastly, if you guys enjoyed this style of video, if you want to see more content with my Outback Wilderness, like this video, show me that you appreciate. Subscribe if you want to watch more. I post a few times a week, although a lot of it is car review related content. Anyways, I hope you take care. I hope to see you on the next one. See you guys.